The service dog named Martha. Prologue. My name is Martha. I am a German shepherd with dark brown hair, though back then my coat was dull with dirt and rain. I was trained to listen, guide, warn, and protect. I was a service dog. My first master needed me every day. I knew his footsteps, his breathing, and the sound of his heart when it became afraid. Then one day, his heart grew quiet, and my world changed forever. My master's name was Mr. Allen. He was an older man with gentle hands, silver hair, and a voice that always found me, even in a noisy room. I helped him stand when his legs trembled. I nudged his hand when his medicine alarm rang. I pressed my body against him when panic made his breathing sharp and fast. We lived in a small apartment above a bakery. Every morning, the smell of warm bread came through the windows. Mr. Allen would laugh and say, "Martha, we are lucky girls today." I did not know what lucky meant then. I only knew his hand on my head meant home. One winter morning, he did not get out of bed. I placed my nose against his hand. It was cold. I whined, then barked, then pressed the emergency button beside his bed, just as I had been trained. People came running. Lights flashed. Voices filled the room. But Mr. Allen did not come back. After that, strangers moved through our home. They packed his clothes, his books, his framed pictures, and my folded service vest. I sat by the door, waiting for someone to tell me what job came next. But grief has no command. No one looked at me the way he did. A relative took me for a while. She lived far away, in a house that smelled of cleaning spray and cats. She was not cruel, but she was busy. She did not understand my training or my sorrow. When I paced at night, she sighed. When I followed her too closely, she pushed me away. One afternoon, she drove me to a park and tied my leash to a bench. "Someone will find you," she whispered, crying. Then she walked away. I watched her car leave. I did not bark. Service dogs are trained to stay calm. But inside me, something broke very quietly. Rain came before sunset. It soaked my fur and turned the dirt beneath the bench into mud. My ribs showed when I stood, my leash tangled around my paws. People passed with phones, earbuds, coffee cups, and busy lives. Some noticed me. Most kept walking. I waited because waiting was the last job I had. By morning, the leash had slipped loose. I wandered through streets filled with cars and delivery trucks. My paws hurt from cold pavement. I searched every older man's face, hoping to see Mr. Allen. But the world kept moving, and no one smelled like home. Days became a blur of hunger and noise. I slept behind grocery stores and drank from puddles near bus stops. My dark brown fur grew matted. My service training stayed inside me like a small light. I still stopped at curbs. I still watched people's hands. I still listened for distress. Days became a blur of hunger and noise. I slept behind grocery stores and drank from puddles near bus stops. My dark brown fur grew matted. My service training stayed inside me like a small light. I still stopped at curbs. I still watched people's hands. I still listened for distress. The boy looked at me through tears. I lowered my head, calm and steady. His breathing began to slow. His mother stared at me. "Where did you come from?" she whispered. I did not answer. I only stayed still because sometimes stillness is a kind of rescue. Her name was Elena Ramirez. The boy was Mateo. They took me to an animal clinic where warm hands checked my ears, paws, teeth, and tired body. The vet found my old microchip. Mr. Allen's name was still there. Everyone grew quiet when they learned he had died. Elena called the number listed, but no one wanted me back. I lay on the clinic floor, listening. I understood tone more than words. I heard sadness. I heard hesitation. Then I heard Elena say, "She helped my son today. We can foster her." Foster sounded uncertain, but kind. Elena called the number listed, but no one wanted me back. I lay on the clinic floor, listening. I understood tone more than words. I heard sadness. I heard hesitation. Then I heard Elena say, "She helped my son today. We can foster her." Foster sounded uncertain, but kind. They gave me a bath in the backyard. Mud ran from my coat in brown rivers. My bones showed beneath my wet fur, and Elena covered her mouth. "Oh, Martha," she said softly. She knew my name from the chip. Hearing it again made my tail move for the first time in weeks. At first, I slept near the back door. I did not trust beds, blankets, or promises. People can disappear, cars can leave, hearts can stop. But every morning, Mateo came downstairs and whispered, "Good morning, Martha." He never forgot. A forgotten dog remembers who remembers her. Mateo had nightmares. When he cried in his sleep, my ears lifted. I would walk to his room and place my head beside his hand. Sometimes I climbed halfway onto the bed and pressed my weight gently against his legs. His breathing slowed. Elena watched from the doorway with tears in her eyes. One day, David found my old service vest in a box from the clinic. It had been cleaned but still smelled faintly of Mr. Allen. I froze when he held it. My body remembered work, purpose, pride. David knelt and asked, "Do you want this girl?" I stepped forward. They did not pretend I was new. They honored who I had been. Elena contacted a local trainer who worked with retired and reassigned service dogs. The trainer said I still remembered many tasks. I could alert to panic, guide someone to sit, retrieve a phone, and press an emergency button. Slowly, I began helping Mateo. I learned his signs, the tight shoulders, the tapping fingers, the way his eyes searched for danger that was not there. When fear rose in him, I nudged his hand. If he froze, I led him to Elena. If he cried, I leaned against him until the storm passed. Sophia began reading to me after school. She smelled like pencil shavings, strawberry shampoo, and hidden loneliness. Middle school was not gentle to her. Some nights she sat on the porch pretending to text while tears fell onto her sleeves. I sat beside her without asking why. One evening she whispered, "You don't tell anybody, do you?" I looked at her. Dogs are excellent keepers of secrets. She wrapped her arms around my neck. Her heart beat fast against my ear. I stayed there until it slowed, just like Mr. Allen had taught me. Months passed. Food filled me out. Brushing made my dark brown coat shine again. My ears stood tall. My steps became strong. Yet I still carried grief. Sometimes when an ambulance passed, I howled softly. Elena would touch my head and say, "You miss him." She was right. Then came the summer storm. It was late July, hot and heavy, with clouds stacked like bruises over the neighborhood. David was working overnight. Elena had returned tired from the hospital. Mateo and Sophia were asleep. I lay near the hallway, half dreaming of bakery bread in Mr. Allen's hand. A smell woke me. Sharp, bitter, wrong. Not smoke exactly. Gas. My nose burned. I stood at once. The stove in the kitchen had been bumped earlier, and one burner was leaking without flame. The house was quiet, but danger was spreading through every room. I ran to Elena's bedroom and barked. She groaned, exhausted. I jumped onto the bed and pawed her shoulder. "Martha," she mumbled. I barked again, louder, then grabbed her sleeve and pulled. Her eyes opened fully. She smelled the air. Her face changed. She moved fast. "Kids, get up!" she shouted. Mateo woke crying. Sophia stumbled from her room. The gas made everyone dizzy. Elena reached for her phone, but her hands shook. I remembered my training. I ran to the hallway table, grabbed the phone in my mouth and brought it to her. Elena called 911 while pushing the children toward the front door. Mateo froze at the stairs, panic locking his body. I pressed against his legs, then nudged him forward step by step. Sophia held his hand. Elena kept saying, "Do not turn on lights. Keep moving." Outside, the night air felt clean and cold in my lungs. Neighbors came out in robes and slippers. Firefighters arrived with flashing lights that painted the houses red and white. One firefighter checked the kitchen and said we had gotten out just in time. Elena sat on the curb, holding Mateo and Sophia. Her whole body shook. I placed my head on her knee. She buried her face in my neck and cried, "You saved us, Martha. You saved my babies." I closed my eyes. I had lost one master. I would not lose this family, too. David arrived in his work truck before sunrise. He ran across the yard and dropped beside us. Mateo threw himself into his father's arms. Sophia cried openly now. David held Elena, then held me. His hands trembled in my fur. "You're not a foster dog," he said. "You're family." After that night, the house changed. A new gas detector was installed. The stove was repaired. The neighbors brought casseroles, dog treats, and hugs. People called me a hero, but I did not feel like a hero. I felt like a service dog who had heard danger and answered. The local news came one afternoon. A woman with bright lipstick knelt near me and asked Elena questions. Mateo wore his cleanest shirt and kept one hand on my back. When asked what I meant to him, he said, "Martha helps me be brave." That was better than hero. The local news came one afternoon. A woman with bright lipstick knelt near me and asked Elena questions. Mateo wore his cleanest shirt and kept one hand on my back. When asked what I meant to him, he said, "Martha helps me be brave." That was better than hero. I rested my head between my paws. I wished Mr. Allen could scratch behind my ears one more time. I wished he could see Mateo smile when I entered a room. I wished he knew his training, his love, and his trust in me had not ended. They had traveled with me. On the way home, Mateo sat beside me in the back seat. He placed his small hand on my shoulder. "I think your old master would be proud," he said. I looked out the window at the passing trees. The sun warmed my face. For the first time, grief felt less like a cage. Life became full again. Mornings smelled of pancakes and school bags. Afternoons brought homework, soccer practice, hospital shifts, and muddy paw prints. At night, I checked each bedroom before sleeping. Sophia called me dramatic. Elena called me thorough. I called it love. I still wore my vest sometimes, especially when Mateo needed me in crowded places. People asked before petting me, and Elena taught them, "She is working." I liked that word. Working meant purpose. Purpose meant I was not just what happened to me. I was what I could still give. One Saturday, we visited the animal shelter for a donation event. Rows of kennels echoed with barking. I smelled fear, hope, sickness, and loneliness. A skinny mixed-breed dog pressed himself into a corner, eyes wide. I stood quietly near his kennel until he looked at me. Mateo crouched beside me. "He looks scared like you were," he said. Elena nodded. "Sometimes love has to be patient." The shelter worker smiled. The little dog took one step forward. I wagged gently, showing him the world had not run out of kindness. That evening, we returned home under a pink sky. David grilled dinner in the yard. Sophia laughed at something on her phone. Mateo ran through the grass, then stopped and called, "Martha, come." I ran to him, strong and clean and alive. My paws struck the earth like music. I had been abandoned because death confused the humans around me. I had been dirty, hungry, and forgotten. But I was never empty. Inside me were lessons, memories, commands, and love. The right family did not erase my past. They gave it a place to rest. Epilogue. My name is Martha. I was Mr. Allen's service dog, and I will always carry him in my heart. Now I am Mateo's courage, Sophia's secret keeper, Elena's warning bell, and David's loyal shadow. I learned that loss can break a home, but kindness can build another. A dog may lose a master, but love, real love, can find a new door. Never treat an abandoned animal as broken beyond repair. sometimes the ones who have lost the most still have the greatest love to give. Grief needs patience. Healing needs kindness. And family is not only made by blood, it is made by those who stay, protect, and love again. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment so you will be notified once new story comes out.